So we'll be starting with a new module of geophysical investigation. So this is relatively sophisticated techniques in which we try to find what is beneath the earth's surface without actually excavating it. So you might have studied about the sonar that they use in the ships to locate objects which are there inside the below the sea. The same thing, we use it to locate any a certain type of terrain or a certain type of rocks or anything that is underneath the surface of the earth. So first in this geophysical investigation is the electrical methods. So this is based on the fundamental fact that different materials of earth's crust have different electrical properties like resistivity, electrochemical activity, dielectrical constants, etc. Okay, and in electrical methods, the first one is self-potential method. So all those electrical methods that involve measurement of natural electrical potential of subsurface rocks are included under this heading. It is a very common fact that each and every body will have a natural potential. Some will have very low and some will have very high. In the bodies where there is a very high natural potential, the current can flow easily through that. In bodies where there is very low natural potential, the current flows very less. So see, this is the natural potential of a human body. So actually I did this testing in the electrical lab, so you can also try it, so this is what you get. For every particular person, the value will differ. So based on that fact, we have this first self-potential method, and in this what we do, let us say that this is a huge terrain and this is soil, and inside there is a rock bed. Okay, so what we do is that we put two electrodes here and then we connect them to voltmeter. Simple. The natural potential in this rock is due to the electrochemical reactions between the underground solution and surrounding rocks. So there may be some solutions inside, in solution meaning the groundwater, and when the groundwater gets mixed with the salts and everything, so that can act as an electrolyte, and when it reacts with this rock bed, it will give it a natural potential. And what you are measuring is just the voltage in between the two things. These electrodes are called as non-polarizing electrodes. Now polarizing, this word means that something which causes some change, okay, something which alters the readings, that is called as polarizing. We have Polaroid sunglasses, so they do not allow the sunlight to come directly, they change its course, right, in the Polaroids. So what this non-polarizing electrode means, that these electrodes will not change the value of this voltage, or they will not affect the value of the voltage that we are getting here. So what exactly are these non-polarizing electrodes, we'll see. If we use metal plates as electrodes, they develop their own natural potential due to reaction with the ground moisture. So for understanding what non-polarizing electrodes are, we will first understand what are polarizing electrodes are. So if we use metal plates here, then it will react with the ground moisture and it will form its own natural potential. So that will not give you the true reading which we want, right? So this affects the reading, but obvious. Thus we need some electrodes which do not have their own potential to disturb the readings. Such electrodes are called as non-polarizing electrodes. Non-polarizing electrodes means something which will not affect the results. So what are these exactly? You can see here, they are generally ceramic pots in which we have copper sulfate solution, and inside we have a copper rod. So these are your non-polarizing electrodes, and because of the ceramic pots and all, they will not generate their own potential. Now this method is generally used to detect presence of minerals which have a very high positive or negative potential, like graphite, magnetite, pyrite, etc. So these minerals are said to have a very high positive or either negative potential. Both will give you high readings on the voltage meter, and that will help you in ascertaining that whether any such mineral is lying below the surface or not. Second is potential drop method. So in this method, an external electrical current is induced in the ground through the electrodes at certain distance. The behavior of flow lines of the electrical current is directly related to the nature of subsurface material. In the previous method of self-potential method, we did not induce any external current. Whatever the voltage that we measured, it was the natural potential of that body itself. But in potential drop method, we have to induce a current, external current, and then we will have to see how that current is behaving in the subsurface material or in the soil. So consider this ground surface in which there is a small rock body that we intend to find. So in potential drop method, what we'll do, there are two primary electrodes which are inserted 6 to 7 meters apart, and in between these primary electrodes will be passing an external current. Okay, so a current is passed through it. Let's say that these are the flow lines of that current. We are forcing that current through the subsurface. Positions of these primary electrodes will remain fixed, that is, we won't be disturbing the position of them. Then there are two search electrodes at varying distance which are used to find points of equal potential. So these are search electrodes, and whenever there is a current passed, there is a field generated around the electrode. On both the electrodes, a field would be generated, and this field, as you can see, is circular in nature in the depth, as well as if you see the plan view. If this is the electrode here, like this, from plan view I am showing. Okay, then the currents would be again in circular manner to it. This way. Okay, so they will be as concentric circles even in the plan, and here also they are in circular manner. It is assumed that if the ground is uniform, and the potential difference would assume a regular value. So if there is nothing as such, like this rock or nothing is present, then we can find the value of this potential, and it will be a regular value which can be found out using some formulas. But if there is a mineral of low conductivity or high conductivity, then the potential difference observed would be of irregular value. So what exactly we are doing is, let's say that at depth D1 the regular potential value is 20 volts. It's just an arbitrary value, nothing calculated, and from both the sides we will test, from this side as well as from this side. Let's say at depth D2 the regular potential value is 30 volts. Okay, at this depth. The same you will see again here at this point, because it is continuing this way, right? So whatever value you are getting here, the same value you will be getting at this point as well. At depth D3, that is at this point, the regular potential value is 40 volts. As you can see here, at depth D3 the regular potential value is 40 volts, but what you are getting here is 5 volts. Okay, so we record much lower value of potential. This is because rocks have less conductivity and less potential value. This would give us the depth of possible bedrock. So at whatever depth or whatever distance this search electrode is there, at the same depth we may get a bedrock. So if we plot a graph here, then at D1 let's say the potential was 20, then at D2 it was 30, D3 it came down, and then D4 again it went up. So this is giving you the potential, this is giving you the depth at which there could be a possibility of finding a mineral. or a bedrock. Okay, so this was it for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll be learning about some more electrical methods and some other methods as well. Till then, take care. Thank you.